10,000 years ago, in the cradle of civilization, humans made one of the most dramatic leaps in history. They stopped wandering and began to farm. Grain filled their storehouses, bread sustained their families, but the abundance also attracted uninvited guests. Mice and rats scurried through the night, gnawing away at the food supply, threatening not just survival, but the very experiment of civilization itself. And then, out of the darkness, two eyes gleamed. A hunter, silent and precise, stalked the invaders. It was not a dog, trained by human command. It was a wild creature, untamed, choosing of its own will to guard the harvest. From that moment forward, humanity gained a partner that was never fully conquered: the cat. The story begins in the Fertile Crescent, that arc of rich soil stretching through Mesopotamia, where the first villages appeared around 10,000 years ago. With agriculture came a problem. Surplus grain was irresistible to rodents. Farmers faced a crisis. Without protection, their harvests would vanish. Into this new human world came the African wildcat, Felis libica, sleek, solitary, and perfectly adapted to hunting small prey. These cats discovered easy pickings around human settlements. They weren't invited. They came because it benefited them. Yet, their presence benefited humans too. This was the beginning of what scientists call a commensal relationship, two species living side by side, not through domination, but through mutual advantage. One of the earliest pieces of evidence comes from Cyprus, where archaeologists uncovered a 9,500-year-old grave containing a human buried alongside a cat. This was not a predator kept at arm's length. It was a companion laid to rest with reverence. Unlike dogs, who were actively bred and shaped by humans thousands of years earlier, cats never truly surrendered their independence. Dog domestication transformed wolves into pack animals loyal to humans. Cats, however, domesticated themselves. Over generations, the friendliest, least aggressive wildcats tolerated human presence and flourished near settlements. Their offspring inherited these traits, becoming more sociable, their coats more varied, spotted, striped, and later solid patterns that rarely appear in the wild. Genetic studies confirm this slow partnership. All domestic cats today trace their lineage back to the Near Eastern wildcat. But while dogs diverged sharply from wolves, cats remain genetically almost identical to their wild cousins. In fact, a house cat today can survive in the wild with far less adaptation than a dog can. This is why scientists often say humans didn't domesticate cats. Cats chose domestication. If the Fertile Crescent birthed the relationship, Egypt canonized it. By 2000 BCE, cats were not just tolerated, they were celebrated. Egyptian households welcomed them as protectors of grain and family. They even appear in tomb paintings, lounging beneath chairs, much as house cats do today. But cats were more than pets. They were sacred. The goddess Bastard, often depicted with a feline head, embodied fertility, motherhood, and protection. To kill a cat, even by accident, was punishable by death. Egyptians mummified cats by the millions, burying them in temples as offerings to the gods. The devotion was so intense that Egyptians refused to export cats. Yet cats slipped out, carried by traders and soldiers, spreading first into the Mediterranean world. By the time of Greece and Rome, the cat was firmly established as both protector and symbol. Romans valued cats for practical reasons. They admired their independence and kept them to guard granaries and ships. Roman mosaics and frescoes even depict cats stalking birds and mice, testimony to their role in daily life. But in medieval Europe, the cat's reputation darkened. Associated with witches, mystery, and the devil, cats were persecuted. Black cats especially became symbols of misfortune. During outbreaks of the Black Death in the 14th century, superstition led to mass killings of cats. Ironically, this worsened the plague. With fewer cats to control rats, flea-ridden rodents multiplied unchecked, spreading disease faster. And yet, despite persecution, cats endured. Their usefulness as hunters outweighed fear. They lingered in barns, monasteries, and homes, quietly biding their time until the tide of opinion turned again. Cats became world travelers not by choice, but by necessity. As European explorers and traders set sail in the Age of Discovery, they brought cats aboard ships to control vermin. Cats crossed oceans on Viking longships, Spanish galleons, and English frigates. This maritime life spread cats across Asia, Africa, and eventually the Americas. In Japan, they were welcomed as guardians of silk, protecting precious silkworms from mice. In the New World, colonists introduced them as pest control, where they swiftly became part of everyday farm life. Everywhere they went, cats adapted with remarkable ease. Unlike dogs, bred into specific working roles, cats carried with them a single, timeless occupation: hunter. Today, cats are among the most popular pets in the world, yet they remain paradoxical. Unlike dogs, their genetic distance from the wild is minimal. Behaviorally, they retain their solitary hunting instincts, their stealth, and their independence. Scientists describe them as semi-domesticated. Unlike cattle or horses, they were not bent to human will. Instead, they adjusted themselves to human society. We may think we own them, but the truth is cats continue to live on their terms. And yet, their bond with humans is undeniable. Studies show cats recognize their owners' voices, show affection in subtle ways, and even mirror human emotions. But they still carry that air of mystery, a companion that sits on our lap, while reminding us with a flick of the tail that it was never truly conquered. So, what is the truth of the cat? Dogs became loyal partners in humanity's survival, their identity reshaped by human hands. Cats, by contrast, entered civilization on their own terms. They chose grain stores over wilderness, companionship over solitude, but only when it suited them. Perhaps that is why cats have always fascinated us. They embody both the wild and the domestic, the familiar and the untamed. To this day, when a cat curls up at our side, it feels less like ownership and more like a gift. So we ask, at the end of this long journey, did we domesticate cats, or did they domesticate us?